Hey, hey everyone. I think I'm live. Okay, this is my first time recording here at this PC, so I'm not sure if it's working correctly. Let me know in the comments if this is working or not. Essentially, I just wanted to do a couple of segments here. There were some comments on my Nintendo Switch reaction video, so I thought I would just go over them in this video. I thought that would be pretty cool and also go live. Hello, Lowrider33. I can see your posts. Can you tell me if my video and the audio is okay? This is the first time I'm doing it because from what it looks like to me, it looks like the bit rate is not very good. I've got it set at 20,000 kilobits per second, but obviously I mean, it's such a small screen. I have no idea if it looks good or not. So even if not, I guess it could just be a crappy video with decent audio, and that's enough for me, I think. But I just wanted to get people's reaction. Also, if you're in the chat, if you're watching this, I want to get your reaction to the Nintendo Switch OLED if you are interested in it or if you're not interested. I guess go over a bit of the information that came out yesterday. And obviously with a live stream, we got a bit more time on our hands. With videos, I tend to find that if I go over 10 minutes, then they usually don't do very well. And people select other videos because they're short on time. So I guess we can have more of a chat about the Nintendo Switch OLED here. And also, I thought I would also just add why I haven't done a segment on GPU prices for a while. I think the last video I did was about almost 2 months ago, could have been like 6 weeks or 2 months ago. And I think the main reason is because a lot of things were happening in flux at the time. We had that issue with Elon Musk basically crashing Bitcoin. So I think at the time, everybody was just guessing on what was going on. And I could have put out a video saying, hey, look, the prices are coming down. And then I think it's just going to plummet. But it could have very easily just gone back up the next day. So I thought it might be best to just hold off and start to see a trend happening before actually, I guess, commenting more about it and finding more about it before actually making a video. Because I think in the past I've gone a little early, especially with my PS5 video where I said there'd be stock. And I won't say I learned my lesson because I was just following the trends. At the time, the trend was actually that the price was coming down. But I think it makes sense to just hold off a little bit and I guess talk about it in a way that if there's information about it, then I'll talk about it. And I didn't want to just make stuff up. But if you're in the chat, hello, we've got 3 people, which is pretty cool. I love doing these live chats. I said before on Twitter that if I ever get a big enough audience, I obviously want to go live more often and do more live streams and do more of a gaming talk show. But at the same time, right now, to get people to subscribe, I need to do more videos. And I also want to be a little bit more technical, which is why I've done a lot of these videos on ray tracing and a lot of videos on, I guess, more technical stuff. So yesterday I put out a video on 8 gigabytes of VRAM and whether that was enough for an RTX 3070 going forward. We've got 1 more year left of this 3070 before we get that 4070. And then also what happens when we had the 4070, if the 3070 is going to be, decent, decent next generation going forward. Okay, so I know you guys are waiting for Nintendo Switch OLED, so let's go and do that first. So I think you guys have probably seen the announcement, but I'm going to play this anyway. And then we'll come back and discuss this. So let me play this. Let me put the browser view on.
chasing lights, we make our own fun throughout the night. We're gonna feel this good forever, such heights we reach together. Stepping in time, tread our own path, we won't fall down. We can go higher than we ever been before. Reach for the sky and have it all.
Checkmate.
Running through town, chasing lights, we make our own fun throughout the night. We're gonna feel this good forever, such heights we reach together. Running our lives, stepping in time, tread our own path. Stepping in time, tread our own path, the future's now. We can go higher than we ever been before. Reach for the sky and have it all. We can go higher than we ever been before. Reach for the sky and have it all.
Okay, let me just put the chat to one side. Give me a second while I do this. Okay, or maybe I can do a pop out of the chat. That would be easier. Oh, sweet. Okay. Okay, now I don't need this. Hey, what's up, guys? So let me get to the chat first. So you guys are saying, JM, I'm not surprised by the Nintendo Switch OLED not being a real upgrade. Nintendo do that a lot. Yeah, they do. They do like Nintendo 3D XL. They do so many different models of the same thing. Even when they had the Game Boy. Actually, well, you know, with the Game Boy Color, that was a significant upgrade. It's just that we didn't get a whole lot of good color games. Like, we never saw anything quite like Super Mario Brothers. A lot of the Nintendo color games were pretty simplistic. So it obviously that didn't have very much power. But yeah, they tend to bring out new models all the time. And even just having limited editions of their consoles. Like they'll have a Pikachu version or a Monster Hunter version of their console. And there's really like no difference. So it's exactly the same console. But yeah, they tend to do that a lot. So Lowrider33 says, most of us wanted 4K on the dock. What we got was just an OLED screen and a LAN port. Yeah, exactly. So this is the point that I want to make for this video was that so Christmas is coming up and Nintendo didn't want to go into a second Christmas with the same hardware. And sure, they would have sold out anyway, but this was an opportunity for them to make an extra $50. And $50 is nothing to sneeze at because the thing is $300, so $50. So they're making like another, what, 20% from this Nintendo Switch OLED. And the costs of hardware, sure. I get that usually it costs more or less the same as what it costs to produce. So the PS5, it might cost like $400 to produce, and then they just sell it at basically what it costs. But I think with the Nintendo Switch OLED, yeah, at the very least, they're getting that revenue. They're getting that extra $50. I don't think it costs them $50 extra because I think the Switch, the regular Switch, it's been out for like 3 years now. So obviously prices and things like that would have gone down for the regular Switch. And so with this new Switch, they're taking advantage of new hardware in the market. So these screen companies who make these OLEDs, they want to sell more OLED screens. So Nintendo's like, okay, well, let's go with the new OLED screens because it's so close in cost to the regular LCD screen and it looks better. So let's go with a new model. I think that's good that they're just upgrading stuff. They're still thinking about things from a generation perspective, just like Microsoft and PS5 at the very least. Like they're going to release hardware like once every 5 years, like big changes to the hardware, not like a half step. So I think Nintendo Switch is still going to do this. Right now, it's in its either fourth or fifth year. I forgot exactly. I did say like 2018 yesterday, but I might be confused, and that it might actually have come out 2017. But I think it's the fourth year. It's selling gangbusters. It's selling 30 million units a year. Like if you extrapolate that out, that's like 150 million units uh, in 5 years, which is just insane. Like PS2 sold 150 million in 10 years. So the fact that Nintendo, they know they're going to sell out anyway. So they want to keep this generation going. And only when signs of the software and signs of the hardware are slowing down, then I think they're going to bring out that Switch 2 model to get everybody to upgrade again. There's really no need for Nintendo to fragment the audience at the moment. I know people obviously think it's underpowered, and yes, it kind of is because the thing is like less than 0.5 teraflops. But at the same time, it does what Nintendo wants. Like if you look at all of the first-party titles that it sells, it's 30 million for Animal Crossing, 30 million for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, 20 million for Breath of the Wild 2, 20 million for Smash Brothers. So it does its job for Nintendo. And sure, like the third parties don't do as well. But then again, like the third parties, they don't have very good. When they port their games, they're just simply not as good as Nintendo's games on the platform. They keep a lot of the same things. They try to do it in a really cheap way. Generally, they want to keep everything the same from the PS5 version. So when you're actually playing in portable mode, all of the text has not been sized correctly. That's a very simple thing that they could have done, but a lot of third parties do this, and that's simply why they don't sell as well. Like if I'm supposed to buy a game on all of these different platforms, I'm just going to choose the one that's going to be the best. I'm going to choose the best version of that. So I might not play something like I don't know, like Project. Like I'm not going to play Project High Rise on Switch, even though I bought it. Or I'm not going to play like Dark Souls because when I play Dark Souls, I'm literally squinting at the screen, seeing if enemies are coming around the corner. And I don't need to do that if I'm playing on a 27-inch PC monitor. And then the other thing you said was, well, while I'm at this chat, maybe I'll just go to the other screen, make it a little bit bigger, the webcam. Where is that pop out? Okay, and then the LAN port, right? The LAN port, I think that's a great addition. I think that is so underrated, right? The Wi-Fi is absolutely shit on this Switch. And also, this Switch Lite came out last year, and it has, I think, just about the same Wi-Fi. I think it's a tiny bit better. Like it's more stable, so it must be like another revision of the same Wi-Fi chip. But it's essentially the same model, and it's so bad. Like I'm literally like basically every single device in my household has better Wi-Fi than this, and I'm going back like 10 years of stuff. It's so the LAN switch on the actual Switch dock is crucial. People are playing Smash, people are playing Mario Kart Online, and also it's going to make people subscribe to their servers because previously a lot of people must have been thinking, well, the online is not so great on the Switch, the Wi-Fi is crappy, and then I'm just going to drop out all the time. So the experience wasn't very good. But now at least people can actually just plug it into the LAN port, even if they have to sit like right next to the modem, with a 2 or 3 meter LAN cable, at least they can do that, and then I don't know, grab a PC monitor maybe, and then plug it into your PC monitor and play it that way. But at least they have a solution. And I don't understand why it has such a bad Wi-Fi. It must have something tied to do with the actual processor inside. So this motherboard only supports this type of Wi-Fi, and I don't want to throw out information out there. But the fact that they haven't updated the Wi, or it doesn't look like they're going to update the Wi-Fi. We'll see when this comes out, if it actually has better Wi-Fi. But I think that might be the worst feature of the Switch. And then the second thing of all is second worst feature is that it doesn't have Bluetooth audio. So there are a lot of problems with the previous Switch, and if they went forward another year, another holiday season, I think that I'm glad that they're refreshing this. Like, obviously, I'm probably not going to buy it because I just bought a Switch Lite. So I probably won't buy it, but at least for people who are interested in it now, with 85 million Nintendo Switches sold, there's still going to be people that are going to get this. This thing is going to sell till 150 million, and I think it's useful for them to bring this OLED out. It might not be for everyone. It might not be for people who already have a Switch, and I think that's okay. Like, I don't really want to buy lots of hardware all the time. I know people out there, they can easily just go and sell out their old hardware, but I think it's a little early, and then you're going to fragment the audience as well. So I think it's okay for them to keep going with this Switch. It's been 4 years, I think, and I think it's okay for another year, maybe even 2 years. Like, I'm having a ton of fun with my Switch right now. Like, it's almost like I'm doing work on my PC, doing these videos. Say, like, I'm testing the RTX 3070, and then late at night, I'm just gonna bring out my Animal Crossing on the Nintendo Switch, and then just have a go with that for like an hour or something. JM says the LAN port is nice, I guess. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that might even be the best thing on this Switch. Yes, the OLED will be great. The LAN port is really crucial for multiplayer. Well, yeah, of course. Like, I don't think I'm going to get a new Switch for that. Lowrider says true. So I think you're talking about the LAN port there, I guess. Also, I don't think there is as much demand for an upgraded Switch as the internet makes it look like. Most of Nintendo consumers are kids. I'm willing to bet it's mostly adults who want the upgrade. Well, yeah, it's funny because, like, I'm a big Lego fan as well. I don't say it that much on the channel because it's not a Lego channel, but Lego right now is basically for adults. The kids not interested. The kids that want to play the iPad, and I tried to get them into Lego, but they're just not interested. So yeah, it's a little bit like Lego, and I think Lego understood that, hey, we need to sell more to the adult audience. I think let's face it, like, yes, Nintendo has what we deem like, kiddie games, that that don't have any profanity, that don't have any swear words, or and don't have any like extreme violence and that type of thing. At least from their first party titles, like, even if you look at their first person shooter like Splatoon, that's about as antagonizing as it gets. Like, yes, you have people shooting at each other, but it's just a paintball game. So I think Nintendo is, in my opinion, right now they're the most successful out of the three, because now PS5 actually has a bit of competition for Xbox. I think they do. People who aren't seeing this are not really reading the tea leaves, I guess. Xbox Game Pass, everybody's talking about Xbox Game Pass. The situation on the consoles are really changing. So people are starting to see the value of a Game Pass system. I've been on Game Pass for about 6 months, and I can't believe I'm talking about Game Pass. on this Nintendo Switch, but I'll just quickly make a point: is that uh, the the Game Pass has changed the way that consoles have typically operated. So I think PS5 is going to see a bit of competition from that, and Nintendo is still kind of all out on their own, doing their own thing. At least that's what it looks like. And there's no other way to get a Nintendo game. You have to pay $60 to get a Mario game. And are the exclusives on PS5 absolutely essential to 150 million people? Or is it the other way around? Is it like Nintendo's exclusives are absolutely essential to getting the hardware? I think Nintendo's exclusives are absolutely essential, and then it's your personal preference on the and Sony. I guess it's the same for both, but like, I think Sony has a bit more of an uphill battle because even third parties make very similar games to PS5. So I was going to also answer well, as you guys know, I think we've covered like pretty much all of the features on this OLED model. Let me go back to the browser. So we've talked about the 7-inch OLED screen. Of course, that is an upgrade. So if you don't have a Switch, I mean, obviously this is the one to get. Yes, you have to pay $50 more, but I think what they're offering, the trade-off is not that bad. Like for $50 more, you get an OLED screen, you get the LAN port, and a bit more storage. I think for $50 for as a consumer, I think that is okay. It could have been worse. They could have just jacked up the price by $50 this Christmas because they don't have enough stock of the regular Switch. So at least you got something back. But that said, I think this should have been $299. I think the regular Switch should have come down to $250. And I think the Lite should have stayed at $199. Or even like $179. I think those prices would have been good. However, we live in a situation right now where everything just sells out. So that is why we're getting price increase for this. That's why we haven't got a price decrease for the Switch regular. I keep saying Switch regular. Regular Switch. And so it's going to sell out. So they're just giving you a price rise, but they're hiding it behind a few extra features, which I think is okay for people who haven't bought the Switch yet. For people, there's going to be a lot of people out there because their children are going to come of age. Maybe they're like turning 7 or 8 this Christmas. I think the Switch is the right console to get for a family situation. We've talked about the LAN port, the storage, and the enhanced audio. And we'll come back to these type of things as I go through the comments. And also, I've obviously made a reaction video yesterday, pretty late at night, but I had to get my thoughts out there, my immediate thoughts. But I wanted to answer some of these comments in this stream. So Jake writes, I think you guys can read that, right? Jake writes, I'm probably going to get it, but I wonder if the screen will end up looking worse as a result of having lower PPI than the normal Switch. Well, let me go back to that. Okay, here we go. Oh, now I can't. Okay, I need to go back to the other zoom. Obviously, colors are going to look significantly better, but I can't help but feel that the Switch was already at a kind of a sweet spot using a 720p screen, and blowing it up more might just be pushing it a little too far. Well, I can tell you as somebody who used a 3DS XL, there's no way it's going to be any worse than a 3DS XL. And I think even the Vita might be worse. So if you like how it looks on the Vita, I think 720p at 7 inches is okay. And okay, the other thing is, right, let me just show this. Okay, the other thing, right, is in gameplay, when you're playing on a 720p screen, is actually not that bad. What you will do notice is text and things like that. So that's especially egregious. So the text may be a little bit worse on this OLED, but that's a really good point, Jake, that you bring up, because I don't think a lot of people have considered this. I think people have just said that 7 inches is going to be great because 6 is too small, and 6 is okay. 6 is okay, but because I've actually got a 5.5, and 5.5 to 6 feels really small. Let me just come back out to, sorry to keep changing the screens, but like maybe this will make it easier to see. But you can see that the Switch Lite is way smaller than the Switch, the regular Switch. And then when you're actually using them, you can feel the difference straight away. So even though it's 5.5 to 6, it's a little bit like, say, your iPhone and then your iPhone XS, the bigger one. It's a little bit like that. That's what it feels like when you're using the Lite and the Switch. So let me see, where am I? So I think in terms of clarity, it might also be a little bit like that as well. Like the iPhone XR had a 720p screen, I think. But the text is still super sharp. So it's not going to be that bad when it's small. I think 7 inches is okay for 720p. And if you tried an XL, 3DS XL, it is just shocking. So anything that is not like that is fine by me. If it's a tiny little bit worse, I think it's not too bad. And during gameplay, you're not going to notice it as much. Fiesel Ozor says, nobody's talking about the risk of burn-in at high brightness levels. I guess it's not that much of a problem. I've had the same AMOLED Samsung phone for 4 years and don't have any burn-in, but I never use it above 50% brightness. Okay. Oh, let me go back to the browser. So that was that Mr. Ozor question. So thank you for that question. So in terms of burn-in, burn-in was a major issue from things like plasma screens from about 10 to 15 years ago, plasma TV screens. So right now, it's not that it will never happen. It does happen. But as long as you're careful with this, I don't think it's going to be an issue at all. You're going to have to leave this on for like 48 hours before you even get a little bit of a burn-in. I think Artings, I don't know if you watched that channel, but they did a video, and actually I haven't watched this, but go and watch that video where they left the TV screen on for a year to see if it had any burn-in. So I think that will be really interesting to see if that has any burn-in. But if you want to check it out, go and check that out. But I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue for most of the hardware that we have now. And certainly like all the iPhones have OLED screens, and I don't think people will talk about it that much. But then again, nobody leaves their screen on all the time. I don't think you're going to leave your screen on for your Nintendo Switch either, unless you accidentally leave it on. But yeah, really good question, because of course there's the potential there, but I would say the chances are really slim. I'm going to get up all these pop-up chats and things. Okay. I'll come back to the pop-up chat in a sec. I'm going to go and do these comments on my YouTube channel on the video first. We've got 3 more, and I'll get back to the chat. So Joey Trivet says, sounds like too little too late for my taste. It's literally just a screen upgrade. And yes, it is. It's a screen upgrade. Basically, they wanted to charge $50 this Christmas, and they're just giving you something back. So if you have a Switch already, I don't think it's that necessary, unless you love OLEDs, you love the latest technology. And then, yeah, you could go and splash $350 on this. But I'd almost want to get another light instead. Then, like, I'd almost want to spend I almost want to get like 2 lights instead of 1 OLED. But that's me because like I have 2 kids and we have family, and then we want to play that way. But the thing about multiple Switches is that not really actually worth it, which is why I don't actually want to get the 3rd Switch. It's because I have to get 3 copies of every single game that I need to play, which is expensive. because Nintendo games are $60 all the time. It's not like a PC where it's like, oh yeah, you wait for a sale and everything's like $5 to get 3 copies of Stardew Valley. um, Even Stardew Valley doesn't get discounted that much. I think it's only been discounted once. So yeah, I don't really want to get multiple Switches. I might do because I like the Switch Lite a lot. I love the handheld form factor, I should say. Um, I absolutely love this form factor. I'm a big handheld fan, so I got all the old handhelds. Well, I've got all the consoles as well. So uh, I absolutely love handheld gaming. Oh, and I got a GPD win a while ago because I like PC and I liked low powered stuff. But it was just a bit too much trouble to run a GPT win, which was why I got rid of it. And I don't often get rid of my consoles and hardware. Um, Greg says, I agree with the bezels. My 2014 phone has smaller bezels, 5.5 screen than the OG Switch. I'm not interested because Joy-Cons are the same drifting is a common problem. Also, same CPU. I will wait for the Pro version. I think a lot of people are just going to wait for the Pro version. This is literally like for people who are going to get it this Christmas. And then after that, it, I think people are going to wait for the Pro. The Pro, I'm going to say like it's going to be 60-70% going to come out next year because of Breath of the Wild 2. They're going to want to sell it with the Breath of the Wild 2. And even if it gets delayed till 2023, maybe the Switch 2 will get delayed as well. Who knows? But I, I think it's going to, I think it's going to come out next year, most likely. Because the other thing is they also want to keep up with the competition. They don't want PS5 to continually keep people playing on these 4K TV screens. They also probably want to bring something out like as competition. And even though they don't see themselves as competition, they are. I mean, they're taking a time from gaming. So PS5, Nintendo, they're definitely competition for Nintendo. And you got to excuse me. Hang on. I got to get rid of this thing. Okay, you got to go. And normally I'm not going to get mad on screen. I'm not going to get mad. You got to go. No, no, you take the iPhone. Then go down and get the iPad. Okay. Okay. Let me quickly get through this. So yeah, the bezels. One of the worst things about so there's so many problems with the OG Switch. Like I feel like it's too wide, and that's because of the bezels. And that was truly gruesome when this came out. I couldn't believe it. Like 2018, and we had things like the iPad Mini. We had iPhones with no bezels, and we had this thing with like a bigger chin, well, bigger bezel than the original iPad from 2010, I think. Unbelievable. So yeah, they're getting rid of that finally. Thank God we don't have to deal anymore with bezels. But with the Joy Cons, yeah, it's a luck of the draw thing. So I haven't had it, thankfully, and I heard that if you get a lot of dust, then you're go there's more risk of getting Joy-Con drifting. So I'm trying to keep these in a case all the time. And so I recommend doing that as well. And I really only leave it out for charging. And so I try to charge it during the day when I'm not using it and then put it into a case at nighttime. Uh, but yeah, Joy-Cons, there's nothing you can do about it. It's on all of the consoles. I guess you could just use the Switch Pro controller, which I don't believe has a Joy-Con drifting problem. So you could do that, and you can't do that with the Switch Lite. So that's the only problem with the Switch Lite. You could probably use the Switch Pro on the regular Switch. I don't know actually, because I don't have a Switch Pro. I didn't get it because I play handheld. But go and check that up and see if that would fix your Joy-Con problem. Okay, Angelique, the last one, Requiem X says, Waste the money if you already have a Switch. Bigger screen, but still using 720p. Bigger screen, but still using 720p max resolution. Bigger screen, but still using 720p max resolution. Pass. No upgraded processor. Hard pass. I think I mentioned those things already. Yeah, so you're going to have to wait for that Switch Pro too. Okay, let's get to the chat here. Carboxylated says Switch is trash. Haha. What's sad is this will sell like crazy too. Embarrassing that the mass majority of consumers prefer to game on shit and slow out of date hardware. So, look, listen. People game on hardware because of consoles, because of the games. So if it's got good games, people are going to buy the console. People bought the 3DS, and there's really not much else more to be said than that. It could be super out of date hardware like Nintendo sells all the time, but I guess that just means that their games are really fun if people are buying them. So I don't think it's that big of an issue to have older hardware, to be honest. Especially if you're a handheld portable gamer, you're always going to be like a generation behind anyway. So, I like Animal Crossing, and these graphics could have been done 10 years ago. But even with older graphics, you're getting modern gameplay anyway. It doesn't feel like an old game. And one big part that separates Nintendo from, I guess, a lot of the third parties on Nintendo is that a lot of their games are really polished. Now, I haven't obviously played them all, but like the games that I have played, like Mario Kart, Smash, Mario Party, Animal Crossing, those games are really polished, and the technical performance on those are really good. Like Mario Kart, 60 FPS, constant, like fixed, even in 2-player mode, fixed. Looks really good. Only drops to 30 if you're in a 4-player multiplayer race. So the performance is rock solid on their first party games. And actually they're really underrated as developers, like extremely underrated, especially with the amount of power that is in this Switch. It's less than 0.5 teraflops. The fact that they can get games to look as good as they do, even if they have to use Mii's and things like that, the game world, everything is so vibrant. I think they're actually they're really underrated as developers. Okay, I'm gonna go through some of these really quickly, because he's not gonna go away. And I think we're going to have to leave the GPU thing another time, so I'll just edit that out later on. Okay, so confirmed SK. Hello, well, nice to see you here. And of course, and you got to go. You got to go. It's nice to see you here. And remember, like confirmed, we have a great Discord, so make sure to join our Discord channel. And I'll leave a link in the description below, or you can go and check out my other videos. You'll get a link there. They're in all of my latest videos, a link for Discord. So please come and join us there. But confirmed, SK says, OLED Switch is pretty nice. Not going to lie. Yeah, 720p is more than fine for 7-inch. Yep. I think my guess is that it's going to be okay, especially for gaming. It's okay. Text, on the other hand, maybe it will definitely be a little bit pixelated. They shouldn't be that bad. Amazing Andy says, I have a 2016 era OLED screen on a DAC that was on 24/7 and it's burnt in terribly. Depends on the use case. Switch battery won't last long enough to burn it in. Go. You gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go. Okay, so Switch battery won't last long enough to burn it. Yeah. But at the same time, you might leave it on. And there's you could easily leave it on, and then you might not have the screen sleep, for example, and you could leave it on that way. But I don't think you're going to leave it on for more than 24 hours without realizing. So I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue. Confirmed SK, it is a screen upgrade, but it means the Switch Pro will also have a better screen as well. Yeah, the screen is fine on the regular Switch. It could be better. Like I think the Switch Lite screen is better than the regular Switch. Uh, and Digital Foundry did a really good episode on that where they showed that the regular Switch was a little bit more yellow than the Switch Lite. But the Switch Lite is fantastic for this screen quality, especially like when you consider that it's $199. So I think the Switch Lite screen is really good. The Vita screen is really good. Talking about LCDs as well. So the OLED, yeah, it's gonna be great. Like it'll be better than the LCD. But even if you have the regular Switch, I think you know, you're just playing games anyway. You'll forget like after like 5-10 minutes. And actually, you wouldn't know because you wouldn't be buying it. Um, okay, kid in the back was looking for food. I hate no. His daily job is to annoy me for like 12 hours a day. Literally, like, yeah, he can be a handful. So now he's gone off to do his thing. And this is the trouble with having uh, streams at home because I just can't get away with not having interruptions. There'll be interruptions here and interruptions outside. I don't think you're going to hear the interruptions because I got NVIDIA broadcast on. So hopefully, if there's something that happens outside, like somebody mowing the lawn or something, you guys won't hear that. Um, where am I? Confirm SK says Switch Pro with OLED and 720p 900p gaming is a serious contender for Sony, Microsoft. They have a lot of good titles on Nintendo, and a lot of their titles, it's surprising, right? It's really surprising that Nintendo is coming out with these first party games that have so much replayability. Um, like there aren't that many games that are under 10 hours. And Mario Kart, Smash, Mario Party, easily 100 hours on all of them can be done. And then they have JRPGs like Xenoblade Chronicles, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Zelda Breath of the Wild. All of these really, and I'm not saying that value or a lot of playtime is better. I'm just saying that at least when you buy a $60 title and you're enjoying it, well, you can enjoy it for a long time. And even though Mario Kart is a very simple thing, like you're just racing around the tracks, they have 48 tracks. They have a ton of characters. There's so many ways to play Mario Kart, and the kids never get tired of it. It's something that they just keep on playing. So um, that's what Nintendo has going for it. Uh, Confirmed SK, especially if developers keep porting more and more games onto the Switch. Um, yeah, I think uh, the thing with third parties porting games is, like I've said before, they need to put more effort into it. So I haven't really seen that many good quality third party games. There are some but they're not the ones that you actually expect. Like you'd be surprised. This is an amazing port. This is Phoenix Wright. Now I've only played like an hour or 2 hours of Phoenix Wright. I played it on DS, but previously on DS, you got two screens, and they ported that over to the Switch to a single widescreen, and you wouldn't even know that it was a DS game. It looks like a high quality Switch game with really nice backgrounds. They've redone everything. So I think they actually redid it for the iPhone. So even though, despite that, this is a really nice port where you're not squinting at the screen to look at stuff because the developer decided to just port it straight from the PS5 version and didn't make any changes to it. So that's you got to look for these third party games where they've actually done some work into their Switch port. And you got to look at the reviews and look at them and see if is this going to be okay for a handheld game. I just played WRC9 and it was quite disappointing. I think it's on the floor somewhere. Let me just. Um, So let me see, where is it? Oh, okay. So this has been ported from PC, and sometimes the text is so small, it's like less than 2 or 3 pixels big. There's text in there that's so small that it's impossible to read. And I'd fire it up, but the kid's taken the Switch uh, Switch Lite, and it's impossible to see it. But there are other games, right? Like there's this Dragon Quest 11, Echoes of an Elusive Aged S, which was ported to the Nintendo Switch, and is beautiful. Like, yes, there can be cases where the text is a little bit smaller than my liking, but overall, amazing port, and it looks like it's been developed for the handheld mode. And it's not surprising because Square Enix, they did the 3DS version of Dragon Quest VIII, so they understand that people are going to play this on a handheld. And yeah, everything is legible, everything is fine. Um, and when I say small, it's not that small. It's perfectly fine, but it's not like something like Animal Crossing where everything is, you know, in 16 font basically and easily legible. Like this is unbelievable handheld game, unbelievable. This might be uh, this is could be a top 5 game of the generation. I'm not joking here. A top 5 game that came out in the last 5 years. That, and I think Smash Brothers are top 5 games that came out in the last 5 years, in my opinion. Um, okay. Uh, what's the time? Oh my god, we've gone like an hour almost talking about the Nintendo Switch. It's like 300 gigaflops. Yes, that's right. It confirmed SK. It is 300 gigaflops, which is like when you think about it, the PlayStation 4 was like 1.8 teraflops, so it's 6 times less powerful than a PlayStation 4. So it's really nothing. Like it shouldn't even be able to handle 720p, but it does. Uh, and so now it's competing with things like PlayStation 5. And okay, I don't have a PlayStation 5, I don't have an Xbox Series X, but I do have an RTX 3070, which is what, I don't know what it is like. Well, by Nvidia's measurements, it's like 16 teraflops, ampere teraflops, I think it was, or 30. I don't remember what exactly it was, but it was pretty much the same as the 2080 Ti, which is like 13 teraflops from last generation. So anyway, before I throw out too many random numbers, but yeah, the RTX 3070 was incredibly well. The RTX 3070 is basically a high-end card, and I enjoy gaming on the Nintendo Switch just as much. Um, okay, actually, we are going to go and do the GPU price discussion because uh, my son has actually gone away and left me alone. I didn't think I would be able to get to it, but he's gone off to play the Switch, so just let him be. Okay, I'll just quickly read a couple of these and then we'll get to the GPU price discussion. I don't have actually that much to say about the GPU price discussion, but anyway, Oz Sapkaya says, we don't need a new console with new features every friggin' year. When is this BS about buying all the time going to end? So that's the consoles. Consoles, you just buy a console for 5 years. But I hope this time with Nintendo Switch, when they move to the Switch 2, that it's going to bring all of your purchases across. And it's not guaranteed, okay? I think they will because they're more than going to piggyback off this and call it a Switch 2. I think they're going to have to. I don't think they're going to call it Switch Pro. I think Switch 2 is going to be a new generation. I think because it's going to be 4K, it's going to last them for quite a long time, and they don't really care what happens with like the PS6. If it's 4K, I think that's more than enough for them. And they might update it so that the handheld version gets a little bit more powerful. But I think 4K for another 5 years, like after this, so what, 2026, I think Nintendo is going to be happy with that, at least on the home console side. Uh, but yeah, where was I? I think uh, yeah, Nintendo will bring out the Switch 2 next year. I find it hysterical that a lot of the disappointment comes yet again from rumors and unconfirmed things that Nintendo never said. Oh yeah, so this is going to be my final point on Nintendo. Yes, we need to get to GPUs. There were people that were upset at uh I don't know if I'd be able to find a Twitter on this. Um, so this says the new Switch has no major hardware changes. You're not going to buy it, are you? You're not going to buy it. There were other ones that's complain about how there were some insiders to pick like Bloomberg, for example, that talked about a 4K Switch, which never happened. So the thing is, like, this is the thing with insiders, and what I've done for like the last year or so is that a lot of it starts from, well, there are definitely some insiders who talk to manufacturers, and pretty much all the people inside Nintendo are going to be under NDA, so there's no way that anything's going to happen from them. However, manufacturers will often get a heads up on things that are coming down the pipeline. So obviously, with this new Switch, it's obviously been in production for a little while now, and or maybe even just starting production. So that's where people hear from it. And then the manufacturers, yes, they're under NDA, but probably a lot of their other workers are not. So there's going to be whispers and things like that. And then you have these journalists who have close connections with manufacturers, AIB partners, and then they're going to they're going to say things, and they're not going to get everything right. So I have no problem with insiders, and it's not just because I do videos on rumors and leaks and things like that. Uh, it depends. Like, you have to follow these guys to see if they're being genuine or not, and and if they get something wrong, well, how often do they get things wrong? Like, if they're wrong all the time, then they're obviously just BSing you, and they're just going to use you for clicks and views. But if they're actually reporters and they're trying to get things correct, then yeah, sure, of course, there are going to be times when they don't get everything correct because their sources are from third parties and it's not actually from inside Nintendo. Okay, so that's probably enough Nintendo talk. We're gonna go to GPUs, and we're about an hour in. I didn't want to go over an hour really, but we'll keep 15, 20 minutes. I don't know how long we're gonna do this for. Um, Depends on how long the chat is and how long I can keep my son away from the computer. But let's go with the GPUs. Let me have a drink first. Yeah, exactly. That's right. I don't have a beef with insiders. It depends on who they are. If they're being genuine, it's not an issue. But because we rely on them for a lot of information, but if they're genuinely just like constantly making stuff up, then of course, like, they're jackasses. Okay, so where are we? Okay, so I want to just start off this section with. Let me go to the webcam for a second. I just want to start off this section with saying that I haven't really done a GPU prices is falling down video because as somebody who's just following what's happening with Bitcoin prices and crypto prices in general, it goes up one day and down the next. And obviously, we had that trigger with Elon Musk and how Elon Musk, that he went on Saturday Night Live, and then the prices of crypto started dropping pretty much from when he went on. So obviously, that was uh, pre-planned from these massive companies who invest in crypto. They knew that they wanted to take their money out, and they kind of were reading all the tea leaves. Like, they knew that China was getting out of crypto, and then they were already putting signals in. Like, I think 3 or 4 months before this actually happened, there were things like there were things like crypto. Hang on, what? Go go go. Oh, right. My wife wants to cross the room. Go, go, go. You gotta go. Um, okay. Um, so where was I? Yeah, so crypto is obviously going to they were trying, I think beforehand anyways, to bring down the price of crypto because they weren't able to get a position, right? They didn't get a good position, or they wanted, like, because the retail market was in, um, and it started rocketing up, and so obviously one way to do that was to like crash the market. Um, so crash the market, buy up all of the shares, like what's going on now. I'm sure like they have more information than us. They know exactly like what price to buy it at, things like that, and they know how to like trigger the market so that it goes up. Right now is a great time for them because this is where they make all of their money. When the price goes up by heaps, they can't do as much trading because they got to sit there and wait. But like when it goes up and down and up and down like this, they have software that tells them exactly when to buy and sell. Um, so this is a great time for them to get into the crypto market. So to get back to the GPUs, right? To get back to the GPUs, I wasn't really sure like how it was going to play out, and I figured that it was going to drop down to, I guess, like about 40,000 at first, but now it's down to 30,000. So really didn't really know how low it was going to go, and who knows? Like it could even drop down to 20,000 for Bitcoin now. So that's why I kind of like kept out of saying too much about GPU prices, because I could put out a video and then 1 week later the prices of GPUs start to go back up. But this is really great for the people who have been able to get a GPU the last couple of weeks. So in my country, we've been able to get cheaper GPUs for the last couple of weeks now. But really, I don't think there's that much to report, except you guys obviously seen some reports out there about GPU prices. So I'm sure if you wanted a GPU, you probably could have gone out there and got one. But I really didn't have that much to add about that. This article says, let me go to this article. This article says falling Nvidia and AMD graphics card prices in Germany have us hopeful for PC building in 2021. So in terms of prices, let me have a quick look at, I know this is StockX, but the 3080 was about $2,200. It was about 2,200, and look, this card went up to 2,800 a few months ago. So this was May 13th, and now it's July, and now it's down to about 1,500. Let's have a look at some other cards. And I know StockX is probably not the best way to look at it, but the layout is really simple, and you can see all of these cards. And I suppose if you really want, you can go to eBay, I guess. I thought about going to like Micro Center or Best Buy and just making a video and say, hey, look, all of these GPUs are really cheap. But actually, when I went to Micro Center website, they didn't really have that many cards on their website anyway. So it was just, I don't know, it was a bit of a waste of time. Until they get cards into Amazon, then yeah, there's probably not going to be that many cards out there. But there are definitely more cards than there were previously. Okay, so we've got $1,500 for the 3080 EVGA GeForce XC3, which is, I think, the base model. Then the EVGA for the Win 3 is a little bit better. But honestly, like the difference between these cards are basically you get a better cooler. That's about it. And I wouldn't really worry about like the overclock on that. You can just do it manually. Unless, of course, they have high power limits, because some of these cards have like 3 8-pins and some of these have 2 8-pins. And so you'd be able to squeeze out a little more power with the 3 8-pin. It'll let you as well. So, but even still, I mean, how much extra power can you get out of, say, a 4 to Win 3? You might get 5% more. And is that really worth paying another $100 for? That's really up to you. But I think previously, when these cards were at MSRP, when this was like say $749 or $799, then you'd be paying like for the Win 3 like $900, and then at that point like 10% more wasn't really worth it to get like 5% more power. So what else have we got? We got the original Founders Edition, and I'm still wondering whether they actually make this card, whether that's Founders Edition, they're still making that card. I figured they really were just making that for promotional purposes for Nvidia. So, they make it and then they show it in all of their trailers and stuff like that. And then they make enough of them to have fans showing it off in their case and whatnot. But really, they wanted to let the ARB partners make it because they're not a manufacturer themselves. So they wanted to get up to a quantity where they could make it and uh, not be really that profitable, but enough so that it pays for itself. Uh, so what else have we got? We got the 3080 Ti, and if you're a gamer, I would go for that extra 2 gigabytes of VRAM in the 3080 Ti. This would essentially be like a 3090. I think, but I still wouldn't see. That's the thing. Like with GPU prices, I'm actually not sure what my position is. Like when you should go and buy a card. Like I don't want to tell you when to buy one. Like if you really need one right now, yeah, maybe you take the price cut that we've had in the last few weeks of about $300-400. Like this card was $2,000 about 4 weeks ago, and yeah, maybe you take that. But I still think if the prices are falling, I don't know when it is that I can tell you, okay, this is cheap enough to go and get. Maybe when the 3080 hits $1,000, I think that would be okay. But at $1,500, I still think that's a little bit pricey, and I'd only buy it if you absolutely need it. I think, again, this is the thing. Like if I tell you not to get it and the price goes back up, then I feel bad. So yeah, I don't have real good. I don't have a good feel for this. I know from experience the 1080 Ti. I really wanted to get a 1080 Ti, and when that launched, the crypto thing happened as well, and the prices of a 1080 Ti went from $699 to like $1,200. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not buying this for $1,200. And then it was like 7-8 months later, the it finally came down to close enough to MSRP. Like it would have been about $700-800. And then at the time, it was like, oh, maybe I'll just wait for the next year. Like I'll just wait for a 2070 because then the 2070 is going to come out and it's going to be $500. So this is going to happen all the time. So all I really want to say is that, hey, look, there's some GPU prices that are falling down here. And I haven't made a video because I don't have good advice for anybody. And you're going to have to decide for yourself if you really need a card. Ton of fraud in crypto. Most are empty promises coins. Yeah, 100%, 100%. So this is actually good tech. Decentralizing currency is a good tech. And once again, if there's money involved, there's going to be people trying to take advantage of that, which is a problem. Confirmed SK says they don't really care about a GPU shortage. They just care that people aren't paying taxes on gains. I don't think they really care that much about taxes, to be honest. If you like, because I'm of the opinion of modern monetary theory, MMT. So MMT says that the government just prints money, so they don't really care about taxes. If you want to get more into that, I'd love to do a live stream one day where I talk about that. But in short, if you print the money, then what does taxes matter anyway? You just print the money. You don't get it back in taxes. You get print the money. So, like, you think about that for a second. So your paper money, fiat money, they just print that. And when I say print, add some zeros to some bank account. They can do that if they want, and that's what the government has authority to do. They'll just go, hey, yeah, we're going to write this into law, and we're going to give this company like $1 billion. That's what they do. And people who don't know that, people who say like, oh, but you have to pay taxes. Yeah, you pay the taxes to reduce the inflation in the economy. And so if you get that money out, then there's less money chasing the same amount of goods, which means the inflation goes down. So in terms of taxes, yeah, sure, there's going to be some people chasing people for taxes and stuff. And that's really just to keep people honest and I guess spreading the information that, yeah, everybody's got to pay taxes. Everybody's listen to the government, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't pay taxes. You should pay taxes. You don't want to go to jail. Amazing Andy says, 3070 Ti is still 2,000 Australian at PC Case Gear. I really like PC Case Gear. Bought a couple of things from them. I paid $500 for my 970 a few years back. Are we expecting further price reductions? So Amazing Andy, this is why I haven't made a GPU price video, because I don't actually know what to tell you guys. I don't know if it's going down or not. I see the price go down and then one day it goes back up. in terms of the crypto, by the way. And then GPU prices, I guess, kind of follow that. Um, it's really, I think you guys have to think about it as, do I really need this card like right now? At what price am I willing to pay for a GPU? And for me, uh, I'll tell you, like when I bought my RTX 3070, $750 was like, okay, I'm mad that I'm paying like $150 more than the MSRP, but I want to use it. So I think it's okay to pay an extra $150 more for it. So I bought the 3070, and I think I made a video at the time that I was pretty mad that I couldn't get an MSRP because I like to get things below MSRP, but there was just no way. So, and I figured, okay, well, if everybody's going to be starting to mine and all that stuff soon, um, well, I can use it for mining as well. So I can get a bit of my money. Like if I can make that $150 back, then I'm going to at least be okay. Confirmed SK. Prices are going to drop. My guess is they will hit MSRP right in time for next gen. Okay, so we got to think about the other thing, which is Christmas is coming around the corner. So I think the last 3 months of the year is when it's going to be sold out again. And if you want to buy a card, I would think about, say, like the next 3 months as a window for when you would buy it. And I would say that in like, say, October, November, December, I see that the prices probably go up a little bit more because I think people are going to want them again. And and you're going to find that there's going to be thinner stock available. Prices are going to drop. Okay, Sleeping Elephant says GPU prices will never be cheap. Well, let's see what happens. What China is going to do with all of their GPUs. I think they're going to move where they're going to be based. Uh, I they have stopped mining already. They have to listen to the government there. But I think they're going to move it to, say, like Iran or another country. A lot of other countries are now offering them cheap electricity to move there to go and mine. Obviously, then they can, use workers there, or find ways to get that money into their economy. They might strike a deal with these mining companies to go and mine there. Because these governments, they also pay these mining companies also pay for these electricity fees. So really, then it becomes sort of like a negotiation deal. Well, okay, well, I'll come to your country. How much are your electricity costs? And then the government's like, okay, we can cut you a deal for this. So GPU prices will never be cheap. Yeah, I think because it's tied to crypto now, and you see that the crypto is at, I think Ethereum is like about $2,200 at the moment. Bitcoin is like 30,000. Yeah, unless it gets down to like, say, 10,000 for Bitcoin, you're gonna not get a flood of GPUs in the market. I think people are just gonna keep mining it until the government bans it, and governments could very well do. That governments can very well ban. This is my only problem right now with crypto, is that the governments have realized that it's competition for their own currency, and so imagine, right? Like if you have two people, if they both have $1,000, and one of them invests their money into crypto, and the other just holds onto their money. So 1 year later, this guy's going to have, like, say, I don't know what it is. What did crypto go up in a year? Maybe like 5 times the amount. Maybe I think crypto last year was like $400 for Ethereum. So now it's like $2,000. So if it goes up 5 times, one person just changed their money over for 5 times more than what they had. So governments don't like that because you're devaluing their currency. So what's going to happen is that governments will start to enforce more laws and more regulations on this. I don't think they should ban it, actually. If I was the government, I wouldn't ban it. When you start banning things, what happens is that you're never really truly banning the idea or the concept of it. It'll never go away. It's kind of like torrent. Like you can ban torrents, but the idea of the torrent won't go, and it will always be there. It's kind of like the war on drugs, right? Like you ban drugs, drugs are still there. So uh, this has turned political, but this is the thing. Like, if you ban something, it'll never go away. So there's no point banning something. You've got to work with the technology. So governments that understand this and work with this are going to end up doing better. They can profit, or they can learn from the technology and make it do other things. So that's where the benefits of crypto lie. So a country like India, or now even like China, for example, they want to ban it because it's a competition for their own currency. They don't want competition. They want exclusive right to people using their. In fact, like, you're not allowed to make your own currency like on the street. So like if people in Greece, when their drachma plummeted back in, like, I don't know, 2008, and everyone just got destroyed because of the inflation there, they could not have their own currency. So they actually tried to barter items and services in Greece, because the value of the euro was so high, and the drachma was so low, that they had to go and just barter stuff. And that's the thing. Like, you can't make your own currency separate from the government, because you'll go to jail. Confirmed SK. They ban it to reduce the damage. They ban it to reduce the damage. They ban GPUs to reduce the damage. Confirmed SK. They ban what to reduce the damage. Uh, so I'm not sure what you mean there by they ban it to reduce the damage, ban GPUs. You mean environmental damage? It's not about the environment for the government. It's just about uh, devaluing their currency. Is my take on it. At least 50%. Sorry, 75% of the reason why they want to ban crypto is because of devaluing their currency. Like, when they ban drugs, they know they won't stop all drugs, but they do it to slow or reduce total damage. So a lot of people are asking for a legalization of marijuana in America. I know that there are a lot of states that have legalized marijuana. Even in a lot of other countries, we don't have that. So you get a problem where people are sneaking it around, and then I guess it depends on what type of population you've got. Like, in Asian countries, not that many people look kindly on marijuana. Like, just from a community perspective, you can't even talk to people about it. Like, people frown upon it a lot. But like in the West, it's more, I guess, I wouldn't say progressive, but like, it's almost like people understand it more. So they tolerate a little bit more. So there's more tolerance for marijuana. So it's just another method of like controlling stuff. Like, the government, just think of them as like big parents or whatever, and then all they're trying to do is, like, if they don't like something, they're going to like ban something. They don't have the time to teach people what to do, and they're just going to make examples of people. So even here in Asia, you're going to have a lot of countries where they have very severe penalties for having drugs, which I disagree with. And yeah. Um, Confirmed SK says, you can't do this until we write it into legislation with proper taxation and oversight. Um, yeah, part of it, like crypto, it if you want, the government's going to want their take, or they want to control it in a way where it doesn't overtake their currency. If you're not happy with the government, you will go and invest in other currency. Like I actually, you know what? Like a lot of other countries, like say Cambodia or even Vietnam, they take the US dollar. Like, why do they do that? Because they don't actually think their currency is going to be not going to hold its value over the long term. So they'd rather take that US dollar, and you can use the US dollar in their country legally, even because like the government has lost control of their own currency, and they don't want to print more. So they're like, okay, well, you can trade in something else. But in terms of crypto, yeah, if everyone's just going to, um, if there's more demand for crypto, the price of that goes up. Then they bring it back into US dollars or whatever it is, and then it's going to make things. Uh, it yeah, you're kind of jumping the queue basically. If your money is now worth 6 times, then you just jumped ahead of somebody else. So in some ways, to be more fair for everybody in that country, like US, uh, then yeah, uh, they don't want queue jumpers, but at the same time, it's also a way for people to uh, be able to make money while other people are also making money. Like if if everybody had the shot at crypto, they can all make a little bit from that, and that's a good thing. Amazing Andy says, wonder what the first Asian country to legalize weed will be. So if Australia is part of Asia, then I would say Australia, right? But if it's not that, then I would say I would. That's such a hard question. That is such a hard question. Is Russia a part of Asia? I would say Russia, even though they're quite conservative anyway. I don't have a real good answer. It almost feels like there isn't a country that's going to legalize any type of drugs in Asia. I don't even think there's a there's a country where they're really lax about it. Like almost every single Southeast Asian country has the death penalty for even something as easy as weed, simple as weed, is unbelievable. uh, so they got to get. I mean, maybe I'll get banned for saying this, but yeah, I think I think the time has come, right? Like there's just too much information out in the world. If you're part of a globalized community, you have globalized ideas and thinking. So for you to have, for a country to have like uh, laws that they kind of need updating. It's kind of like religion. Like some parts of it need to be updated. Like seriously. Confirmed SK. Canada is the first Asian country to legalize weed. So where's Canada exactly? In Toronto? Are you talking? Is that what you're talking about? Um, my cousins are in Toronto. They live there. Actually, I think the last time I saw my cousin was like 10 years ago. So it's been a while. I don't keep up with them that much, but we were pretty close previously. When I hit 100,000 subs, I'm going to tell them I have a YouTube channel. Um, but yeah. Anyways, do you guys have anything else to say about GPU prices? I I just wanted to do like 10 minutes to say why I didn't, and I probably just came off rambling like an idiot. But I think yeah, I you know what? There are a few days where I went like 5 or 6 days without putting up a video. And in that time, I actually was thinking about doing a GPU prices video. I started thinking about ideas, what that video could be, started researching, and it didn't happen. So that's why I don't have a GPU prices video. And it's a bit annoying because I saw everybody else putting up their GPU prices video and they were getting like 50,000, 100,000 views. And I'm like doing my Nintendo video, doing 200 views. And I'm like, what am I doing? uh, so I just thought like I would just continue putting out videos that I wanted to make, and whatever the views are, because uh yeah, you gotta just make videos that you can you got content to make. Nvidia upped Turing prices because of mining boom during Pascal. Nvidia upped Turing prices because mining boom during Pascal. Pascal. What? How did they Pascal was before Turing? You mean they upped Turing prices now during Ampere? They probably did. Um, but at the same time, this was part of my GPU prices video that I didn't make, was what's actually going on behind the scenes with manufacturing and how Nvidia is pricing this for the manufacturers. And I think Nvidia wasn't really charging the manufacturers more. Now, I didn't have any data to support this, which is why I didn't make the video. But essentially, when I looked at their financial report, uh, over the last two financial reports that they had, they really only raised prices by about 10%. Now, when you think about it, they sold out every single quarter. They'd had to sold out every single quarter. So if they sell out every single quarter, if it's the same volume every single quarter, then really they only up their prices by 10%. But what we actually saw in the market was prices go way higher than that. So I'm led to believe that it's the AIB manufacturer or whoever is down the line from that, could be the wholesaler, could be the distributor, whoever gets the cards. Then they decided to look at the market prices and price it to the market accordingly. That's what's going on. I don't think Nvidia was actually jacking up the prices. So like this EVGA card that was $2,000. Say for example, this EVGA card that was $2,000 and now is $1,500. That wasn't because of Nvidia. At least I don't think it was, in my opinion, because Nvidia sold it to the manufacturer. Then the manufacturer, the distributor, they priced it at the market price, and they would have been the ones taking, unfortunately, I would say, the lion's share of the profit. So now I say unfortunately because you're getting the same card, right? Like for $700, you're getting the same card as the what it is. It's like $2,000. You're getting the same material, same cooler, same everything inside that card. So the manufacturer, like, it's very expensive for that card. But they're just pricing it at that price because they're not going to let other people take the price. So I don't think it was the retailer that jacked up the prices. I think the retailer probably just continued to sell these with about 10%. They get offered from the distributor. So if this car was 2,000, maybe they get offered it at like 1,800 and they make 10%. So they do make a little bit more because now it's 10% of 2,000 rather than 10% of 700. But they'll probably get less units for sale. So yeah, in terms of Nvidia upping the prices, I don't think they would have. That is my guess. I don't have data to back it up, but just from looking at their quarterly financial reports. Okay, so do you guys have anything else to comment on? I think I'm going to wrap it up there. It's been a fun live discussion, and I want to do it more. By the way, I really only got broadband internet about a couple of weeks ago. So this is why I'm doing the live stream. I didn't do it before because I only had 10 megabits per second. Now I have 100. So hopefully the stream came out well. I'll go back and watch it again. But that's why I didn't do live streams here before. And also because there's a lot of distractions here. Like you saw distraction with my kids, even distractions from outside. So Yeah, that's why I don't really do live streams here. You know what? I would really love to do a gaming live stream, but that really depends on the time because I spend a lot of time making the videos anyway. That usually I literally just have like an hour or two left at the end of the day, and I gotta like um, crash basically. Um, yeah. Okay. So we're gonna leave it there. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining the live stream. And yeah, I'm trying to get back into things, and and it's been a good one. I had fun. I hope you guys had fun as well. Um, with that said, I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys again next time.